Hello everyone. Today I am dealing with this raised bed. I don't actually have a plan, but I do know that I have to get the peas out of here. Peas are a cool season crop, so they really don't like temperatures. Well, they prefer between like 55 to 65, maybe 70. Usually in June, they are starting to die back from the heat, but because it's been so much cooler than normal, they still look really good, and honestly, they just started producing peas maybe in the last couple of weeks. So I'm sad that I need to get them out of here, but I don't want to wait any longer to plant some of my warm season annuals in here. So I'm going to bring you up close. I'll show you what I know I'm going to remove, what else is going on in this mishmash of a bed, and then we'll take the peas out and go from there. Right now, other than the peas, I do have a bunch of different things growing in front of them. I don't even know what all of them are. I do know that I planted some sweet peas right there that said that they didn't need to be trellised, and yet they're falling over. I think I'm going to leave those in there. I also have some volunteer sunflowers popping up. I have random things I don't know popping up. I have the oxalis growing out of the cracks. I need to get the peas out to actually see what's in front of them. And then there's also stuff behind them too. This is a giant volunteer sunflower, so I can't move that, even though I don't usually put a sunflower there. There are 3 dahlias growing back here, and then again, who knows what else. So I'm for sure pulling the peas. I don't know what else I'm going to remove yet. Normally I do the same exact thing in this bed every year, so it makes it really easy. What I do is I'll put a row of 9 sunflowers, specifically the summer Sunrich Provence sunflowers. They're single stem, they get about 5 feet tall. And then what I do at the end of the season when they're done blooming, I tie them together to create a trellis for my fall peas, leave them up over winter, and then use it again as a trellis for my spring peas. So the stalks in here right now, which I don't know if I'm gonna leave, depending on what I do. And normally I would take these out and replace them, but because I have volunteer sunflowers growing in other places, I don't know if I really have enough room for all those sunflowers. I don't want to remove a giant volunteer sunflower because I need to direct sow my sunflowers, so they're already going to be further behind. I'll probably direct sow some, leave the ones in there so I have blooms at different times, but I'm just going to go ahead, pull the peas. I'll put some in my composter. I'm actually going to save some to use in bouquets because I think the pea tendrils look really pretty in bouquets. We'll get this out and then I will start trying to make some decisions. The first thing I'm going to do is cut this twine. I do use the twine to help guide the peas up the sunflower stalks to give them something horizontal to cling onto. So I want to take these off so the peas will be easier to remove. And what I normally do is I just add twine as the peas start to grow, and then I tuck the peas in between the twine. Now I'm just going to start hacking at the bottom of the pea plants that I can hopefully find in here. Here's what's left in the bed right now. I have the sweet peas up front. I'm going to leave those. There was some lettuce in here, but I think I pulled most of that out. I have 1 volunteer sunflower. I'm not counting the things growing out the side of the bed. We're going to let that go and see what happens. I have a 2nd volunteer sunflower, a 3rd volunteer sunflower, 3 dahlias in the back, this very leggy volunteer sunflower, and then the giant one. So first, I'm just going to reposition some things currently because I want to move this dahlia a little bit, and then I will go see what else I want to plant in the center. I know, again, I'm going to add in some more sunflowers, but I think I'm going to have room for some other things too. Now, these dahlias, I actually did not start inside, and I did not have them from last year. I just put the tubers directly in here, and I was afraid it was still a little bit too cold, but they survived. So I'm just moving this one more towards the center of the bed and a little bit forward because I think it was just too close to that back. Now, I could, if I wanted to, what are you? Some other stems back here. Oh, another dahlia. Where did you come from? How is there another dahlia tuber in here? Are there any eyes? Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna have to put this to the side and then see what I want to do. Anyway, I'm just going to stick with these 3 dahlias there. If I plant that tuber, which I probably will just to see what happens, I will move that somewhere else. Now again, this sunflower is pretty leggy because it was behind the peas. I'm going to leave that for now and just see how it does. I think this dahlia was also trying to reach for the light. Now I do think these, so this dahlia and that sunflower are very close together, but I like where the dahlia is, and even though I've had okay luck transplanting sunflowers, they really don't like it. I did that before with some volunteers last year, and I mean, they lived, but they looked like they were about to die. They were wilted and sad for a while until they started to perk back up. And the ones that I left in their original positions got huge. So I'm going to leave the bed now like this, which means it's not very organized and it'll probably be a mess, but I think it'll be a pretty mess once I'm done. So let me go ahead and I'll grab the sunflower seeds and get those direct sown. These here are the sunflowers I'm going to direct sow, the Sunrich Summer Provence. Now I am wondering, I thought these were volunteer sunflowers, but I'm thinking these might be dwarf sunflowers that I randomly sown. I really should keep track of what I put where. Maybe I'll learn that, but it's been 6 years of gardening and I haven't, so maybe I won't. But these, I like to direct sow sunflowers, and these can be 4 to 6 inches apart because they are single stem. Now I think this might turn out to be a good thing because it'll get me out of my, not that it's a rut, but you do the same thing every time. I really do like it, but maybe I'll like this a little bit better. I'm going to put sunflowers where I don't think it'll block the dahlias, although once the sunflowers get taller, there's not really many leaves at the bottom of the plant, so the sun should easily be able to go through. But I'll probably plant some here, maybe just 2 piles, I'm not sure. But then once they grow, they won't all be in one line, and I'll see if I can make a pea trellis with them without being in one line, and maybe I'll like that too. I don't know, we'll see what happens. First, these want to be about a 1/2 inch deep, so I know I'm going to put one here, and for a 1/2 inch I just use down to my nail, and I'll put in 2, let me see how new these seeds are. Yeah, these are from last year. If they were older, which I've had some seed packets for a while, then I would probably put in 3, but I think 2, based on these being newer seeds, should be good. 2 there. Let's see. Maybe if this leggy one doesn't make it, I'll plant 2 next to that just in case. I actually think I'm just going to stick with those 3 for now. And that should be good because nothing's going to be even in this bed because things are just thrown everywhere, but I don't want to overcrowd it too much. So let's see now what else I can add. I do have these Black Magic Bachelor buttons, and I really want to see the color on these, and I don't think, yeah, the package is still sealed, so I haven't planted these yet. It might be a little late because it usually says, 1 to 2 weeks before average last frost. But you know what? I don't even know when our average last frost was this year. So I'm just going to go ahead and plant some and see what happens. Now these want to be 1/4 inch deep, and then it says to group 3 seeds every 8 to 10 inches. So I think, what's the max height on these? 20 to 24 inches. I'm going to lay these right in front of where I sowed the sunflower seeds. And that might be it for this bed for now. I love these little seeds. I think they're so cute. All right, so 3 in each of those 3 holes. 1, 2, 3. I think I accidentally got 4, but we will survive. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Cover these up. And then I'll see if I want to add anything else before I water everything in. I think you can see that dahlia that I shifted to the center is looking a little sad. These are also a plant that I've had be dramatic when I move them, so hopefully it will survive. If not, that's okay. I can throw something else random into this bed. These are the 2024 sunflower stalks. I'm not going to get rid of them. I am going to cut the root balls off the bottom. Also, if you have a hard time pulling a sunflower plant in the fall or winter, leave it in the garden for it to die, and then the root ball is much easier to remove. But I'm going to cut the root ball off. I'm going to save these for stakes. And I also like to use them for stakes because of the little dried blooms at the top. I just think that adds a little bit of interest into the garden. So I'm going to save all of these. They do start to break down after a while, so I maybe get 2 years, 1 to 2 years out of the sunflower stalks, but I like to reuse what I can in my garden. Now, let's go figure out what I want to do with that dahlia tuber that I dug up. Actually, I just felt most of the tubers and they were mushy, so I'm not going to plant that, which honestly surprises me that I'm managing not to put something else in the garden because it's very hard for me to say no to plants. I do actually have some more zinnia seedlings that I think I'm going to put in here, but for the most part, the garden containers that I have are pretty full, and I'm trying my best not to add any more pots, especially smaller pots, just to make water management a little bit easier. So I think that's going to be it for today. I will keep you updated on how that bed does, and I'll give you a little sweep of the garden because now that we are starting to get warmer, I'm finally starting to see some growth, which is making me happy. One thing I'm very excited about is that I have buds on these zinnias. These are the Queen Lime series zinnias. I'm hoping I get some flowers soon. Honestly, as far as getting flowers, the zinnias aren't too far behind where they normally are. I normally start to see flowers mid-June, so this looks good. I do have some aphids popping up, which I always do on my zinnias. I'll just blast those off with a jet hose. I do it every day. I see them until they're gone, and it's worked for me every year. So that's my plan with aphids. What else is looking good? Oh, over here by the poppies, I think we're gonna have some poppy flowers soon. And again, once those are done blooming, I will remove those and hopefully the tomato plants inside of them have lived. And then this center bed here is where I will be adding some of these zinnias, also more dahlias that I have no idea where to put. And here is the bouquet made with the peas. Aren't those so cute? I just love the little flowers and little tendrils of the pea plants. So that's how things are looking right now. Like I said, I've really just started to see growth now in the last couple days. We got a good rainfall, so everything got some fresh rainwater, and I feel like we're now finally, fingers crossed, over the hump of the cooler than average weather. And I'm hoping June will be more back to normal, but we'll see how this season goes. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.